Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Turn 2 podcast. I'm Scott Kornberg with my partner, Troy Johnston. We've got a really special guest joining us today. First off, if you like what you hear, please rate and review us, whether you're watching on YouTube or listening on Spotify or Apple Music or wherever you get your podcasts. This is only episode number 11, Troy, so we continue to grow, and we've got a really special guest here today. It is one of the newer Miami Marlins and Major League debut guys here in 2024. Anthony Maldonado, Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp relief pitcher. Anthony, thank you for making time for us. I've been really excited to talk with you. Troy could vouch for this. I mentioned you like way back in November when we were kind of planning this, but thanks for making time for us today.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
How do you feel this year? I think it's your third year here back in Jacksonville, which normally you don't like to be in AAA, but you made your Major League debut about a month and a half ago. I thought you could have made it easily a couple years ago, really, in particular last year. You finally get that call. What was that like to see your jersey in a Major League clubhouse and obviously get out on a Major League mound?
Unbelievable, indescribable, really. When I don't think it hit me of like that I was. I mean, obviously it hit me that I was getting called up, but when I walk into the stadium and see my jersey hanging up and the number and the MLB debut patch and everything, it was just so cool. Like, it's just so different than, your everyday AAA jersey, just because these are the jerseys you grew up seeing on TV, and seeing your name there and the nameplate on the locker was, I mean, it was surreal.
You're from south of here. I don't know if it's quite South Florida, I guess, maybe. Like, were you a Marlins fan as a kid?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up going to the Roger Dean spring training complex with my dad, and we would just switch off going between Marlins and Cardinals side. And I specifically remember that 2012 team with Hanley, Jose, Reyes, what were some other big names? Carlos Zambrano. Like, I remember that team in particular.
Wow.
Yeah.
Stanton, was he on that team?
Stan was there, Ozuna, I believe, Yelich. They were the young guys coming up, and they were supposed to, I think they had an episode on Hard Knocks that season, because they were, the big team on the block.
Did you ever go to the Hard Rock Stadium when they were playing?
Um,
Before, what is it called? Marlins Park? No.
I think
It was
High Life or something.
way back. It was somebody's name, I think, like Joe Robbie Stadium, right? Like, wasn't it like in the 90s?
Maybe. I honestly don't think I've ever been there. I remember I went the first season. They were. I don't think they were called Lone Depot. Was it just Marlins Park?
Might have been Marlins Park.
Marlins
yeah.
Park. I remember I was there that first year, but no, I never went to the old stadium.
So who was your guy as a kid? You mentioned all those guys. Was there a favorite player of yours that, whether he was on the Marlins or not, you were locked into watching him play?
Josh Beckett. I love to watch pitch.
Josh Beckett.
And then the hitter side, Hanley Ramirez. I remember copying Hanley's stance when I was a kid. But yeah, pitching, definitely Josh Beckett.
So there's been some rumors going around the clubhouse. It might be a middle school classmate of yours, but heard you were quite the shortstop back in the day, and maybe that's why Hanley Ramirez might have been one of your favorite players. Realistically, they were telling me the rumors, and if they're true, that you would be out there taking ground balls every single day. And maybe that's why you're so good getting off the mound and making throws to first, second, third, was because of all that practice. Like, do you think that plays a part in who you are as a baseball player?
No, I can confirm the rumors, and I'll even name drop me and Xavier.
Xavier Edwards?
Were up the middle.
Xavier Edwards?
The Xavier Edwards.
Wow.
Middle school team. Yeah, we were up the middle, and yeah, my dad and I were out at the park every single day, cages and ground balls.
Were you righty swinger?
Switch hitter, actually.
Switch hitter?
Yeah.
Oh, my.
Not the best hitter, though, but I can hit from
Clearly.
both sides.
Dude, what was like your preferable side? Left or right?
Righty for sure.
Righty for sure?
Yeah.
Was it hard trying to hit lefty, or was that like just a natural thing that you were like, oh, I'm just going to hit lefty too?
No, it was kind of natural because I started when I was super young, maybe, I don't know, 12 years old. Like, I was already hitting lefty, and like I stopped doing it in high school. My senior year at that point I knew I was going to be a pitcher, so I just said, all right, I'm going to take at bats basically for fun and just went right in and tried to hit a homer every time.
Hey, sounds like me.
It's working out for you pretty well right now,
Yeah.
by the way.
Hey, trying to hit a home run, roll it over, and it's a single. Sick.
Anthony, you mentioned your dad, and you had told me this great story, I think it was last year, about you with your dad watching Puerto Rico in the World Baseball Classic. This is probably like one of the first ones, like way back 20 years ago almost. What do you remember about that to playing for Team Puerto Rico in the most recent World Baseball Classic?
Oh, I remember. I want to say it was 2008, I believe. Man, I still remember that David Wright walk-off blooper over the first baseman that knocked Puerto Rico out of the tournament. And I stayed up late watching that game, and I didn't want to go to school the next day. I was like so heartbroken because my dad, you know, for my entire life was just so prideful in his Puerto Rican heritage, and we always watched, you know, whatever sport it was, basketball, baseball. We'd always watch the, you know, Puerto Rico play. And yeah, I remember. I don't remember exactly how old I was. Maybe, you know, middle school. And I said to my dad, I'm gonna play for Puerto Rico one day, because he asked me, "Are you gonna play for Puerto Rico or USA if you get the opportunity?" And I said, "I'm playing for Puerto Rico forever." And yeah, the opportunity came last year for the Classic, and man, that was such a proud moment for him.
What was that call like when you were told that you were going to the WBC for Team Puerto Rico?
Oh, unbelievable. I still remember it was spring training, or maybe
What year, 22 or 23?
this was 23.
23.
So it was, I played winter ball that year in Puerto Rico. And in 2020, during COVID, when I played winter ball, I played with Yadi. He was, you know, just played a few games to get back into the swing of things. And so I had a little bit of relationship with him because of that. And I'm playing winter ball, and the GM of Team PR is in Puerto Rico, you know, talks to me a little bit, didn't confirm anything, told me, hey, we have, you know, our preliminary roster of like 50 guys or 40 guys, you're on it, stay healthy, and, you know, we'll see what happens. And I report, you know, to spring training for early camp, like late January or early February, and I'm playing video games with my friend, and I get a phone call from Yadi, and he just, you know, congratulated me that, you know, they selected me for the final roster. And I couldn't tell anybody yet because it wasn't announced. So it was announced like a month later. But yeah, I was right next to my dad when I got that phone call.
Chills. That's
Could
awesome.
you tell him, presumably?
Yeah.
Okay.
I told my close friends and my family, but like I wasn't gonna walk into spring training the next day and say, "Hey, I'm playing for Team PR."
Comes full decked and like a horse. Oh my goodness! You probably would have had to pay a bunch in fines. It's all right.
Oh,
You would have
yeah.
made it up with the WBC money.
What did your dad say when you told him?
Oh man, my dad is not the most emotional man. So, you know, just saying my dad, or just my dad saying, you know, wow, like congratulations, I'm so proud of you. That's a lot to hear from him. So just that, and I mean, I'm sure he probably called all his hometown friends in Puerto Rico and told them too.
Yadier Molina, you mentioned him, and for a pitcher, I'd have to think that's really cool. He is a likely Hall of Fame catcher, mainly because he's so good at working with pitchers. What did you notice? He's a manager for the WBC, but what did you notice that he does that really helps pitchers out in game planning and game calling and those kind of things?
For me, honestly, it was his track record. I mean, at the point that I threw to him, everybody already knew, okay, this is a first ballot Hall of Famer. This is Yadier Molina. Whatever he called that day, wherever he set up, I had the utmost confidence in it. I didn't second guess it at all. I didn't have to think. I gripped the pitch and I threw it. And I think that was the easiest thing, because I could put all my trust into him. Trust that it was the right pitch, the right location, and execute, and I'll be successful. And, you know, his presence, his leadership was really the big thing for me. And even as a manager, you know, just like the aura that Yadi has is incredible, and it's just, you know, you give him the utmost respect for it.
You know, I could see Maldonado shaking off Yadier Molina at least once. But you know what it would be like if you know the baseball fans out there would watch Bull Durham. It would be
Oh
something
yeah.
like when the pitcher shakes off Crash Davis and he just goes, shakes his head for a second and goes, "All right, here comes a fastball. Don't miss it."
Yeah, it did not cross my mind to shake Yachty.
calls a mound meeting. Hey, I don't know if you know what you're doing, but you're gonna throw a fastball here. That's awesome.
You, I believe, were the only guy in that roster for Puerto Rico who did not pitch in the major leagues at the time.
Mhm.
So you had also told me in the past that you just kind of liked observing what those other pitchers did. Who comes to mind of like, wow, I couldn't believe this person's routine, or I picked this up from somebody else? Anybody come to mind from that WBC in terms of maybe things you added to your own game?
I mean, everybody was different, which I thought was the cool part. You could tell, all these successful guys had their different routines, have different times that they do their own stuff. So I thought that was cool, and it kind of showed you, okay, you don't need to do these certain things to be successful. You can do what works best for you. But I mean, one of my favorite guys to watch pitch is Edwin Diaz. So I paid attention to what he did, and when he spoke, I listened. And he was really big on quality pitches, no matter the count, no matter the score of the game, the inning, just quality pitches. Get on the edge of the strike zone and trust your stuff, and you're going to be successful and you're going to beat the hitters. So that was something I really, really honed in on, and I thought it gave me a lot of success, especially last year. That was the first year I kind of had that mindset of let's just stick on the edge of the zone, and even 0-0, if I'm around the plate, guys are going to swing or I'm going to steal strikes. So, I really commend Edwin Diaz for how hard he works and, how good of a pitcher he is.
So would you ever be able to have a walkout song like what Edwin Diaz had? What instrument would you have them play?
Ooh.
Could see like a harmonica guy or a triangle.
Definitely not the trumpets. That's taken, man. He's got to have that forever. I don't know. Maybe drums. Maybe
Ooh, the drums would
the
be good.
drums would be cool.
That's actually a cool answer. I thought you were gonna go with the triangle.
No, not the
Ding, ding, ding,
triangle.
ding, ding, ding.
Maybe piano. I like the piano a
Ooh.
lot. I think
What
that'd
about-
be cool.
Would you ever go like old style organ?
That
No,
may be
more like electric piano. Is that what you're thinking?
yeah, like an electric piano. That'd be pretty
Ooh.
cool.
What if Marshmallow does your walkout? Like all of a sudden they just
person?
in person puts a marshmallow hat on, and that's your guy.
I mean, that'd get the stadium going.
Lone Depot would be sold out.
Yeah.
Edwin Diaz, you were there when that infamous celebration took place. Can you take us through like that as you guys are celebrating on the field, and then it's like this guy is coming off. He's not just the best pitcher on Puerto Rico's roster, arguably. He's coming off one of the greatest relief seasons of all time. I mean, what was it like to live through just the high of winning that game and then the low of what happened next?
Yeah. I mean, I'll just walk you through it. When we had the lead going into the ninth, game over. That was our mindset. Edwin's taking the ball, it's game over. And he ended up striking out the side, and I'm actually late. Like, I'm in the bullpen, so I'm later than everybody to the celebration. And when I finally get there, he's already on the ground, and people are already around him. So I didn't see the injury happen, and at first I didn't know what happened. I was just lost. So, what happened? Why is he on the ground? Why are the trainers coming out? And then I had to go back on TV and watch what actually happened. But man, that was gut wrenching. Like, just to lose not only, like you said, arguably our best pitcher and lockdown closer, but he was just such a leader, such a presence in the clubhouse and on the field that it was more than losing just a pitcher. Like, we lost a big part of the team. So that was a tough blow, but he came back strong. So I'm happy for him, and hopefully he just keeps going.
One more question on Puerto Rico. Sorry, Troy.
No, please go for it.
you got a tattoo of a Coqui, which I learned about when we were in Lehigh Valley last year, and they did their Copa game, and they were the Coqui. And it is a native frog to the island of Puerto Rico. It is a symbol of Puerto Rico, and you had that tattooed. So I think you were coming off the injured list or something like that when we played that game, and it was your first appearance back, and you got to pitch against the Coqui, which is really cool, but you already had that tattooed. Can you, for those who don't know, describe the significance of the Coqui to people who don't know that culture in Puerto Rico and why you have that maybe tattooed on? I think it's your arm.
Can we see it?
Yeah, it's right here.
I don't know. All right.
So the significance is the frog can only live in Puerto Rico. It is, native to that island and will not survive in any other country or territory, whatever. I don't know if it's the climate or what it is, but it only survives in Puerto Rico. And, growing up when I was younger and I'd visit Puerto Rico with my dad, he would always say, "Do you hear that sound? Because it's a little whistle." And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "That's the coqui. That's the frog. That's, Puerto Rico's national animal." And I'm in winter ball in 2020, and my bed is right next to a window, and I can hear it all night long. It's like the frog was just sitting on my windowsill. So I like tattoos, and I wanted to get something that, meant something to me and was a tribute to my dad. And I thought, nothing better than the coqui frog, and I like the placement of it too. So that's really the story behind it. But yeah, I actually remember you talking to me about that, and that was my first game back off the IL, throwing against Lehigh Valley that night.
That was, it's incredibly fascinating that, like, of all the games you could have come back for, because we were there for 6 games, and I think they did 2 different Copa teams, like, you got that one.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, considering adding things on, I do want to congratulate you on proposing to Claire.
Thank you.
That is awesome. Shout out to Claire. I know she probably is going to listen to this one, but walk us through your proposal. This is a big step in a man's life, and like, how did you do it? What was it like?
I had a lot of help. So I was actually talking to Claire about this yesterday. She told me that I was being weird in the weeks leading to the proposal, because
sounds like every story ever.
I bought the ring, one day when she was at work, and I was waiting, for it to come in. And at first I had it in our apartment together, and I had to bury it at the bottom of like my baseball bags. So I didn't want it. I felt like more guilty with it in the apartment until I handed it off to my mom. So then anyway, we were going down to Florida for my grandma's surprise 80th birthday party. And that was on a Friday night, and then Saturday night I was proposing. So Saturday morning, we're at Claire's parents' house, and I had my mom and my sister, who were in town, go to the beach and set it all up, and Claire's mom and Claire's sister also do that. So Claire's mom and sister had to pretend that they were going to see a wedding venue for Claire's sister, and Claire thought it was so weird that, why didn't they invite me? I want to go to this. So what they did was they had Claire's best friend invite her to hang out that day. So Claire's busy all day. I'm hanging out at the house while my mom and my sister and Claire's mom and sister are setting everything up at the beach. I had like a marry me sign, a little flower bouquet. We had a little like carpet walk up, candles and whatnot. And then I told Claire that we were going to not a Broadway show, but something like that at the amphitheater in West Palm. And I said, we're going to get a nice dinner at the Breakers Hotel, so we got to dress nice. So we drive on the beach, and I had my mom fake a call that she was going to be late to dinner. And I said, okay, we'll go check out the water. We haven't been to the beach in a while, so we're going to walk along the water and see the nice houses. And, so we walked along the water, and I actually had the ring in my back pocket. So I get out of the truck, and I open the door for Claire, and to me it felt like, why does she keep walking behind me? Like she's gonna see this big bulge, this big ring box in my back pocket. But luckily she didn't see it. And then the there was a little gate to the beach, and we opened the gate door. And as soon as you open the gate door, I mean, you can see the "Marry Me" lights on and the candles and whatnot. And then, yeah, I popped the question, and she said yes.
Wow. And that was it. You just popped the question. No speech, nothing. It was, will you marry me? And just like that.
I can't remember if I gave. I don't think I gave a speech. I'm not a big speech person. But no, I just
Marry me or else.
Yeah. Yeah, I just remember her crying when she first saw it, and then I had to like kind of force her to walk up to the sign because I had my sister there taking pictures. So yeah, and then I had a little celebration planned afterwards, and the family came out from hiding and just congratulated us.
Well, like I said, congratulations. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that story with us.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I do have another question off of that. You have something on your face. A little bit. Well, it looks like some hairs. Is there a reason the mustache is coming out here post first half?
Yeah.
Oh.
Get some more dubs.
Oh, he wants the jumbo shrimp dubs.
A little rally stash going for the boys. Okay. Maybe it will motivate other guys to do the same. You can grow a little mustache. I know you rocked it in the past, so maybe it'll bring it out for the team.
I just got rid of my mustache, and you know that.
Grow it back out.
Grow it back out. Well, as you know, with facial hair, it's whatever the wife wants.
Yeah.
None right now. She wants
none. She said it was getting too prickly. She said, you better get rid of that, or else you are not coming home. I said, okay, sounds good. No problem.
Even if you're getting hits?
Even if I'm getting hits. Well, see, the thing is, I'm not very superstitious.
Okay.
I don't really, every day of baseball is so different every time you wake up. I know pitchers are weird. You got to wear the same sliders, same socks. You got to do the same routine. Hitters, it's like every day a pitcher's different. The vibes are different, the feels are different, everything like that. Like, it's hard to just have superstition, because once the superstition doesn't work, then it's in your head.
Yeah, I agree.
That's all you're thinking about.
I agree.
Scott, do you have any superstitions?
Not really.
Not really?
No, I have these little. I went to the University of Maryland, so I got these little turtles always in my pocket as good luck that my wife and my mom, a couple friends have given me. It's probably about as close as I get with that.
I like that.
Yeah, it's my good luck. I lay them out when I do a broadcast. I have them out in front of me. People probably think I'm really weird, but it works for me.
Yeah, if it works, then it works.
Do you have any superstitions?
No, I'm like you. I've never been superstitious.
Just a little stitious?
Just a little stitious. No, I mean, I'll change sliders. I wear different socks.
Thank God you change sliders.
Games.
For those of you listening and don't know what sliders are, it's underwear.
Yeah,
thank goodness.
Compression shorts.
Thank goodness you change your underwear.
No, I mean, I'll have different gloves, different outings, different cleats. I feel like it's you. I mean, every day is new.
Do you go different glove based on the uniform, or how does that work?
Yeah, I actually do go different glove based on the uniform.
Nice.
So I will go just my natural tan glove most of the time. If we wear the Duval jerseys, I got a pretty sweet custom 44 glove that I'll use for that. That's kind of more traditional Marlins colors. I feel like it fits with those.
Oh, is that the black jerseys?
Black
Duval?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I
was trying to think which one's Duval, because I know the blue one says Bold City.
Yeah, I think the red one says Jacksonville. I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
And yeah.
We don't have any that says Jumbo Shrimp, do we?
I think the red one actually says Jumbo Shrimp.
Does it? Oh, and the white one
The
says
white-
Jacksonville.
yep.
Yes,
I
that's
am
right.
tired of your lies.
By the way, let's wear the whites more often.
Okay, so we would, but our roster changes every single day. So, it's hard to keep up with all those patches. I'd love to wear the whites.
Yeah,
That'd be great. The whites are a
my
good
favorite.
look.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. It is what it is.
Your slider is your best pitch. Where did you learn how to throw that?
College, my freshman year, I thought I had a really good curveball going into college. And I throw 2 bullpens. And I'm straight over the top, good fastball, 12-6 curveball, and 2 bullpens in, my pitching coach says, hey, let's drop your arm a little more. It doesn't seem natural for you. So I just he actually rolls me ground balls, says throw to first. And he's like, all right, that's
Like a shortstop.
Like a shortstop. And he said, that's your arm slot. And, I tinkered with a few grips, but I've had the same grip since college. And just reps have gotten it better. And, Yeah, it's been my pitch all in pro ball, to be honest.
What's your metrics on that slider? Because I know the way that your fastball plays, the slider plays very well off of it, and that's also why that's probably one of your best. Because there's certain times that I'm at first base or I'm in left field, DH, and whatever it is, and I'm like, he's going to throw this guy 3 sliders and he's not going to touch it. The inning's going to be over. It's fantastic. But I do realize that your slider, because of the way that your arm tunnels, and like you're talking about that natural arm angle, the way that it tunnels, your slider plays so well off of that fastball. Do you know what or do you try to do that, or is it just like the actual movement of the ball?
At first, I had no idea what my movement was. I just tried to throw it in a good spot and spin it. Now, with the analytics and everything, I'm more in tune with it, and it's actually crazy. It's zero. My best ones are 0 vert, 0 horizontal.
So it's just a bullet.
Just a bullet.
It's a bullet, and it'll go down.
Bullet slider.
That is the worst. I hate trying to hit those.
So yeah, I have no sweep, no
Okay.
negative drop. It is 0-0, and yeah, that's just. I try to throw it over the plate, let it drop off under, and it's been successful so far.
And for those of you listening, there's a lot of new age technology coming out with pitching and hitting and all these different stuff. You'll see and watch a lot of different statistics show up, especially when you're watching a major league game. I know at some stadiums they actually have the horizontal vertical, they have the spin rate.
Yep.
And if you're watching a hitter, they'll have exit velocity, launch angle, distance, all this kind of stuff. Do you think that, as from the pitching aspect, do you think it's made pitching better or worse? And when I say worse, I mean, because I know a lot of pitchers that really only dive into the numbers. They don't care about anything else. They just like a drive line, a Cressy, like those kind of places. What's your aspect on the new age technology of pitching of baseball?
I think it could be very informative or very hurtful, like you said.
So there's no in between. It's one or the other.
No, I mean if you
Okay.
use it correctly, I think it's great. There's a happy medium. I would not go to the extremes of either side because both matter. If you have a good fastball metrically, you throw hard, the numbers are there for you, it grades out well. But for some reason, and nobody knows, it gets hit. The numbers don't matter at that point, in my mind. I think you got to have success and then have the numbers support that.
I like that. Okay.
So, but I do like that in the big league stadiums, in Lone Depot, for instance, it does have the horizontal and the vertical break. So I remember, I threw a good slider that I didn't get a swing on, and I'm like, is something different? Or, was it just, he was just seeing that one well? And I looked up, okay, the metrics are good. I could stay right there, put it in a different spot. So, no, I think it's really informative, and especially with the Edgertronics, the slow motion cameras, see how you're releasing the ball. I think that stuff's great. But at the end of the day, you got to get outs, and you got to put up zeros. So it's like old school and new school combined.
Nice, I like that. Well, I know as a hitter, which I know, Scott, I don't know if you've heard about, because of the way that we use, I'm always checking, especially if the first pitch of the game to a lefty or the fastball, the slider, the changeup, whatever it is, I'm always checking the RPMs. I'm always checking the way that it moves because I want to know exactly what that ball does before I even step into the box. We have so many different numbers and different stuff, but realistically, the numbers of, he's talking about a 0-0, that's like bullet spin. So it's literally just going to stay up wherever it is. If it's 0, -15, it's going to just dive across this way. If it's, 8 and 5, +8 vertical and -5, it's almost going to have an upshoot across.
Mm-hmm.
So all of these numbers tell us exactly what we need to know as hitters based on what we're looking for, our approach, different stuff like that. And I know as pitchers, it helps them just as much as it helps us. But I know I use it more in real time. The pitchers use it more, except at Lone Depot.
Yeah.
The pitchers use it more in practice and all that kind of stuff because then they can figure out how to spin it.
Exactly.
Fascinating stuff. Have you ever used those numbers to try to throw something different? You've got your slider, you've got your fastball. I think you throw a changeup maybe too. Do you play around with that stuff in different grips and anything like that?
Yeah, and I actually developed a cutter off of it. So, my fastball's gotten, even from last year, a lot better metrically.
At 88 miles an hour.
Yeah, at 88. And, that wasn't any grips or anything. That was kind of more of a mindset and feel. But we wanted separation from my fastball and my slider. So I tried to throw a changeup, and I tried to do it in season, so it just wasn't great feel for me. I couldn't really tinker around with it in game. But I threw a cutter a few years ago, and last week of spring training, they said, "Hey, let's bring that cutter back." So, I've been throwing that, and that's all number based because it's kind of a newer pitch to me, and I haven't been throwing it that often. So, after every outing or every week, I'll look back on those numbers, and I'm like, because it's performing pretty well, but I want to make sure there's separation between the fastball, the slider, and now the cutter. So that's where I use, the numbers and the movement more so than, what my eyes tell me. Because my eyes could tell me, oh, that thing's really good, but no, it's actually a flat pitch or whatnot,
I figured out my cutter that I was throwing you last week.
The seam shifted 2-seam?
Yes. I didn't know that that's a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, Huddy was telling me about it, and I threw like 3 of them to him, and they were just taking off.
Oh, yeah. Where was that, Memphis?
Yeah, Memphis. Yeah, Memphis. I started throwing. I just threw one to Maldonado. He's like, "Hey, catch a couple for me." So I'm catching them, and I start throwing cutters at him, and he goes, "Keep throwing that."
Yeah. Well, no. At first, I want to say, you went, "I'm gonna throw a 2-seam here," and I said, "Okay." And he throws it, and it's one of the nastiest cut ride fastballs I've ever seen. Like, I jump this way to see the 2-seam, and I have to go back over this way. And I said, "Throw that more."
The only problem is I don't think anybody's going to appreciate it if I throw it in the infield.
Yeah, no.
It's going to be an error. But I figured it out yesterday, like my arm slot and everything like that. I'm like, oh, my goodness. If I stop hitting, I might be a really, really good Little League pitcher.
More than Little League.
Middle school?
Maybe
I don't
more.
think I could be a David Fletcher. I don't have the knuckleball in the back pocket there.
Yeah, knuckleball's a tough one.
Because a cutter at about 85 is probably not going to play. If I can throw a cutter at 92, that'll play. But I don't think I got that in the tank.
Hey, what about this? You're turning 2, the runner's in your vision.
Ooh, and cut it around him.
You cut it around him.
Ooh, I've done that before. I did that the other week. Well, I've been hitting the runner lately, but I did one, but it sunk the other way. I didn't cut it, but I had to throw it like around him, and so it sunk like around his shoulder. I thought that was one of the coolest things ever. And then I ended up plunking the runner twice. So
okay,
yeah, it is what it is.
I'd
Maybe I
work
needed
on
to seam shift a little bit more.
Maybe
with my millisecond that I have to think about throwing it. Like hold on, and we're gonna throw it.
Oh man.
All right, I got one more for you, Anthony. Seam shifted wake. For those who don't know, how do you describe that in like normal English, basic fan terms?
Okay, so. Oh, that's gonna be tough.
Right, because it's very. I've read about it, and I'm like, even reading in print, I'm like, ooh, this is tough.
Okay, so I'll use. Let me think. All right, so let's say for the people watching, you're throwing a 2-seam and you're holding it like that. But when you throw the ball, for some reason, it always cuts. It always goes towards your glove side. So you switch up the grip, and the way the laces will rip off your finger, you can throw it normally, and the ball that normally cuts will cut in the air, and the gravity in the air will actually force those laces the other way. So it'll appear as the ball is going to cut, and at the last second, boom, it's going to be, that demon sink. And that's really where seam shifted came from, and that's where, guys that may have had average pitches or below average pitches have turned into above average because it's just so different. And the way they throw it, Troy could throw a 2-seam. That is how I throw my cutter. But because of that seam shifted wake, he gets that 2-seam action that I don't get. That's really the best way I can explain it. I'm not too, scientific with it, but that's the best way I could explain.
I wish we had a baseball up here, but it's part of putting your fingers together, correct? And then, but it's on like you want your middle finger on that lace?
Yeah, so it's just like a presentation of the laces. So let's say, so let's say I want a ball to go horizontally for a righty towards my glove side, but me personally, I struggle with it. So what I'm going to do is, for instance, if I'm going to throw a slider that I want to get more break on, I'm going to roll my middle finger, and I'm going to want, the part that's closest to my ring finger on the lace that is facing a certain way, and I'd have to hold a baseball tell you exactly.
Mm.
But that seam shift, when it rolls off my middle finger, it's going to take it to break that way, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, that does make sense.
Sounds like a nightmare to hit against. If you got
Goodness,
somebody
that sounds like broken bats on broken bats on broken bats. Sounds like a lot of wasted wood there.
Or swings and misses.
Oh, we like those too.
We do. We
Well,
love
you
those.
do. You do.
Love them.
Anthony, thank you so much.
Thank you.
It was a
Thank you.
pleasure.
That was a lot of
talking with
fun.
you.
Thank you guys for having
Thanks,
me.
Maldy.
That's Anthony Maldonado, Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp reliever, hopefully back to the majors very soon. Thank you for listening and watching, everybody. For my partner, Troy Johnston, I'm Scott Kornberg. We'll talk to you in a couple weeks. Happy 4th of July, everybody. This has been Turn 2 with Scott and Troy.